think about how many times you've checked your phone today, just to quote unquote save time.
Right. We all do it.
Like you ordered groceries, walking to the train, maybe paid a bill while waiting for your coffee.
Or answered, 3 different work emails while standing in the elevator.
Exactly. We are surrounded by like the most miraculous time-saving conveniences in human history. So ask yourself, when was the last time you actually felt rested?
Yeah, that is, it's really the defining contradiction of our era, honestly.
Today's deep dive is tackling that exact modern paradox. Because the very tools designed to give us all this abundant free time have somehow, left us completely and chronically drained.
The sources we're unpacking today lay out a really comprehensive analysis of modern productivity, and they point to a fundamental misunderstanding right at the center of our daily lives,
Which is that we're constantly trying to solve a time management problem.
when the actual crisis is energy management.
Right. And our mission today is to completely flip that paradigm for you. Whether you're an insanely curious learner or maybe a student aggressively juggling coursework with a part-time job or even a high-pressure professional trying to crush these massive goals without burning out the feeling of exhaustion is just universal.
It really is. It affects everybody across the board.
So we're going to build you a step-by-step daily schedule and productivity plan to take back control of your mental space. But, to fix the schedule, we first have to confront how we ended up so profoundly depleted in the first place.
Right, and looking backward offers a really stark contrast here. The sources ask us to consider our grandparents or even their parents, who lived prior to all this ubiquitous digital convenience.
Right, before the smartphones and the apps.
Exactly. Their daily existence required immense physical labor. Washing clothes meant hours of manual scrubbing.
Cooking was a completely from-scratch, all-day endeavor.
Yeah, the sheer caloric output required just to maintain a basic household was staggering. Yet, researchers and historical sociologists note this really specific psychological phenomenon.
Oh, this is the part that blew my mind.
Right? They actually seem to possess a deeper sense of psychological freedom.
Which feels entirely counterintuitive. You would think someone doing manual labor for 14 hours a day would be like the most stressed person on the planet.
They were physically tired, certainly.
Yeah.
But they weren't operating under this state of constant ambient cognitive panic that we have today.
Yeah, ambient cognitive panic is a great way to put it.
The sources share this brilliant little anecdote that I think captures this perfectly. So, a child is baking cookies with their grandmother and accidentally burns the entire batch to a crisp.
Oh.
Right? Total disaster. But instead of panicking or shouting or agonizing over the derailed afternoon, the grandmother simply laughs at the clumsiness, throws the ruined cookies away, and they peacefully start over.
Oh, man. If I burn a batch of cookies today, my entire afternoon schedule just shatters.
Totally cascades, right?
Yeah. I'd be calculating the time lost, the emergency grocery run I now have to squeeze in between Zoom calls, the emails I'm not going to get to.
Because the margins are so thin.
Exactly. We are so bombarded by deadlines and notifications and optimization metrics that literally any minor setback feels catastrophic.
We've essentially traded physical labor for a paralyzing mental exhaustion.
Right. It's like, okay, let's unpack this. We traded carrying buckets of water for carrying a massive, invisible cognitive load.
That's a perfect analogy. The modern brain is processing a relentless, torrential stream of input.
Yeah, it's like having a smartphone with 50 apps running in the background.
Oh, exactly.
You aren't actively using them, but they are absolutely destroying your battery life because you're simultaneously trying to remember a project deadline.
While synthesizing news about global events.
Right, and processing a barrage of text messages and passively tracking social media trends.
It's never ending.
It's not just a drained battery, honestly. It's like trying to cook a massive 5-course meal, but someone keeps walking into your kitchen and turning the stove off every 3 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
So you spend all your energy just trying to bring the water back up to a boil over and over again without ever actually cooking anything.
And that's why you reach the end of the day, crawl into bed, stare at the ceiling, and wonder, wait, what did I even accomplish today?
Yes, that feeling of, I was busy for 14 hours, but I did nothing.
Right, and that ambient anxiety you're describing, that boiling water constantly losing heat, that explains the core illusion of our modern work life.
The mixing up of time and energy.
Exactly. We treat time and energy as if they are the exact same currency. But having an hour of free time does not equal having an hour of cognitive energy.
So when I look at my calendar and I see like a free hour at 3 p.m. and I think, oh, great, I'll tackle that massive strategy document then.
Right.
But then 3 p.m. rolls around and I end up just staring blankly at my screen. You're saying that's not a lack of discipline.
It is a biological energy deficit.
Yeah.
If your brain is running on empty, sitting at your desk for an hour produces zero results. You just cannot force complex cognitive function from a depleted prefrontal cortex. And if we look at the evolutionary biology here, the brain is ruthlessly efficient at conserving calories.
Because it thinks we're starving.
Pretty much. When it senses an energy deficit, it actively suppresses complex thought, and it seeks the path of least resistance to secure a quick dopamine hit.
Which means the moment I feel tired, my brain is literally wired to reject that strategy document and crave a quick distraction.
Precisely. It wants you to scroll through short videos, check trending posts, refresh your email.
Because it feels harmless in the moment, right?
Right.
It requires very little physical effort.
Right, but the sources reveal the massive biological deception here. These passive distractions don't actually recharge you at all.
They do the exact opposite, don't they?
They really do. While your body is physically still, your brain is working in overdrive. You're processing rapid-fire visual information, shifting context between 100 different videos or topics in the span of like 10 minutes.
And having micro spikes of emotion with every single scroll.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You are burning massive amounts of cognitive glucose. It creates this devastating cycle. You feel tired, so you seek an easy distraction to rest, but the distraction depletes you further.
Which means you need an even lower effort distraction the next time you pause.
It's a complete trap.
Yeah.
You think you're resting, but you're actually just digging the hole deeper.
But let me push back on this for a second, because I hear this and immediately feel the pressure of the alternative, you know?
How so?
If I can't just zone out on my phone, the alternative seems to be, quote unquote, scheduling my relaxation.
Why?
Doesn't it feel like we've reached a point where we are treating rest as just another high-pressure item on the to-do list? Like, I have 30 minutes between meetings. I must aggressively and mindfully relax right now.
Right.
That sentence alone is exhausting. The pressure to rest perfectly is just draining in itself.
That friction you're feeling is incredibly common. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it highlights why our current approach is so broken.
Because it's still work.
Exactly. When rest becomes a forced metric you have to achieve, it loses all restorative power. You are still in execution mode.
Execution mode.
Right. And this constant execution mode is exactly why feeling perpetually busy masks a total lack of true progress. We stop living in our own physical reality.
We just measure our days by the friction of what we managed to survive.
Yes, rather than what we actually absorbed or experienced.
Life just blurs together into this, like, colorless gray list of completed tasks. You eat lunch, but an hour later you couldn't tell anyone what it tasted like.
Because you were checking emails.
Exactly. You walk through a beautiful neighborhood, but you're so busy listening to a podcast at double speed and drafting an email in your head that you don't even see the trees.
And that blur is the direct consequence of how our attention is continuously sliced into pieces. The sources emphasize that we aren't losing our time in massive hours-long chunks of sheer laziness.
Right. I'm not accidentally staring at the wall for 4 hours.
No, your time is disappearing in 3-minute increments. A YouTube video here, checking a group chat there.
Opening a social app just while waiting for the elevator to arrive.
Exactly. Constant digital connectivity severely degrades your attention. Every single time you shift your focus from a primary task to a notification and back, your brain incurs what neuroscientists call a switch cost.
A switch cost. So there's an actual biological penalty.
Yes. Your brain has to completely reorient its neural pathways to the new context, and then reorient again when you return.
So doing this 50 times a day
Burns an immense amount of mental energy
Yeah.
and drastically reduces the quality of whatever you were originally working on.
Wow. So if you're listening to this on your commute right now, think about those like 3 unread text messages sitting in your pocket.
Just knowing they are there.
Right. Knowing they're there, deciding whether to check them, actually checking them, and then trying to get back to your original train of thought. That entire process is leaking your energy.
It's a massive leak.
So how do we stop it? I mean, what does this all mean for our listener? Let's say you're a student balancing studies and a part-time job. Your schedule is already packed to the absolute minute.
Well, the first step in our productivity plan is to aggressively batch your digital connectivity. You cannot leave the door to your brain wide open 24/7.
So practically speaking, instead of just trying to rely on willpower to not look at my phone, what's the actual strategy?
You establish dedicated blocks. If you are studying or working on a high-pressure professional task, the phone is physically out of sight. You dictate the terms.
Okay.
Maybe once an hour, you take a deliberate break, and that is your designated window to check messages, emails, and alerts.
So you aren't cutting yourself off from the world.
Not at all. You are simply confining the noise to specific contained moments. By doing this, you eliminate the constant switch cost. You stop the fragmentation.
Okay, containing the external noise makes total sense. But the sources bring up another type of noise that comes from inside the house, so to speak. And this one really hit home for me. They call them small loops.
Small loops are incredibly insidious. These are the tiny, seemingly trivial tasks that you just constantly defer.
Like replying to a 2-sentence email.
Exactly. Or paying a utility bill, booking a routine dentist appointment, ordering a birthday gift.
Oh, the guilt. I am so guilty of this. I will look at an email. I know exactly what I need to say. It would take me maybe 40 seconds to type, but I tell myself, I'm focusing right now. I'll just do it later.
But later rarely means you forget it completely. It means that uncompleted task stays active in your working memory.
Oh, so it just sits there.
Right. Psychologists refer to this tendency to remember uncompleted tasks better than completed ones as the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect?
Yes. So even if you aren't actively thinking about the dentist appointment, your brain is dedicating background resources to keeping that loop open so you don't forget it.
So it's the mental equivalent of having 50 browser tabs open.
That's it exactly.
Like, none of them are playing audio, but they are all eating up your computer's RAM, making the whole system sluggish.
That is exactly the mechanism at play. So the second step to protect focus, the checklist rule for closing small loops, is simple but ruthless.
Okay, what is it?
If a task takes under 2 or 3 minutes to complete, you do it the absolute second you notice it. You do not defer it.
Book the appointment immediately.
Yes,
Pay the bill right then and there. Fire off the short reply.
correct. By immediately closing these small loops, you stop them from accumulating in the background. You instantly free up cognitive RAM.
Which makes sense because I know when I finally do those things, I feel so much better.
People are often shocked about how physically lighter their mind feels just by clearing out these trivial, lingering obligations.
So if clearing these tiny guilt-inducing loops stops the constant energy bleed, what do we do with the energy we've actually saved?
Well, now you use it.
Right, because paying a utility bill doesn't get you a promotion, and it doesn't pass a final exam. We have to tackle the heavy lifting.
Now that the background noise is cleared and the small loops are closed, you're ready for high-leverage work. To optimize task management for a high-pressure environment, you have to leverage what the researchers call your golden hours.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. And this isn't just that whole wake up at 5 a.m. and grind thing, is it? Because that advice is everywhere. And it always makes me feel like a complete failure if I'm not a morning person.
It absolutely is not that. The concept of golden hours is deeply rooted in chronobiology. Everyone has a natural biological clock, a chronotype,
Okay.
and that dictates the rhythm of your core body temperature, melatonin release, and peak cognitive sharpness. Some people naturally hit their stride at 8 a.m.,
Sure.
but others don't experience peak clarity until 3 p.m. or even 10 p.m.
But society just completely ignores this biological reality. We force everyone into the exact same 9 to 5 box.
We do, and the consequences are severe. The sources highlight the groundbreaking work of chronobiologist Till Ronderberg.
Right, who coined the term social jet lag. That is a phenomenal phrase. Social jet lag. It implies you are suffering the physiological symptoms of crossing multiple time zones, but you haven't even left your hometown.
And biologically, that is exactly what is happening. If you are a natural night owl whose brain isn't fully primed until late morning,
Right.
but society forces you to be at a desk executing complex tasks at 8 a.m., you are fighting a flood of sleep hormones.
Your prefrontal cortex is physically rebelling against the demand.
Exactly. Living with chronic social jet lag guarantees dropped performance, increased errors, and systemic fatigue.
If you're a night owl, society's schedule is actually working against your biology.
100%.
So how does our listener actually find and utilize these hours? If you're that busy student or a professional who has to deliver high-pressure results, you can't always just tell your boss, hey, I'm not showing up until noon.
You might not control your whole day, but you can control your most critical tasks. The actionable strategy here requires self-observation.
Okay, so tracking yourself.
Yes. Over the next few days, track your energy levels without judgment. Pinpoint the specific window where your focus is naturally sharpest, where the work just clicks and feels frictionless and your thoughts are clear.
And once you find that window,
Once you identify your personal peak, whenever it is, you must reorganize your daily schedule to fiercely protect 1 to 2 hours of that golden time every single day.
protect it from what specifically?
From anything that does not require your absolute best cognitive function. This is your dedicated deep work block. No checking emails, no random small tasks, no meetings if you can avoid them,
No.
and absolutely no interruptions.
So less junk, better signal.
Exactly. You isolate the signal from the noise. You deploy your highest quality energy exclusively toward your highest leverage goals.
Okay, so we batch our digital distractions to stop the fragmentation.
Right.
We immediately close the 2-minute loop so our mental RAM stays clear.
Yeah.
And we deploy our protected 1 to 2 golden hours for the massive high-pressure projects. That is an incredibly potent daily schedule. But logically, you can't just sprint at max cognitive capacity all day long. Even during the golden hours, you're going to hit a wall.
You absolutely will. Protecting those golden hours is great, but you can't sprint all day. You have to know how to properly hit the brakes so you don't burn out halfway through the afternoon.
So what's the optimal strategy there?
The brain consumes energy rapidly during deep focus. If you try to power through relentlessly until you have absolutely nothing left, you'll crash.
Yeah.
To sustain performance in a high-pressure environment, you have to master the art of the break.
Okay.
The optimal task management strategy is to work in highly focused blocks of 60 to 90 minutes.
And when that 90 minutes is up, because if I just switch from my spreadsheet to like checking social media, we've already established that's passive distraction, which doesn't recover my energy.
Correct. Switching from a work screen to an entertainment screen isn't a break for your brain. It's just a change of scenery for your ongoing cognitive depletion. After a 60 to 90-minute sprint, you must step away for 5 to 10 minutes and engage in active brain recovery.
How exactly do we actively recover?
Active recovery requires removing the demand for your brain to process new incoming stimuli.
Okay, so what does that look like?
It means a true break. No gadgets, no screens, no reading, no podcasts. You physically leave your workspace, you walk to a window, you stretch, or you just sit in a quiet room and let your mind actively reset.
Sitting in silence for 10 minutes without looking at a screen feels agonizingly boring for most of us, honestly, which I guess just proves how deeply addicted we are to constant input.
It is uncomfortable at first, yes, but that absence of input is what allows the brain to consolidate information. It physically clears out the metabolic waste generated during intense focus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Active recovery is what permits you to return for your next 90-minute block with a renewed capacity to think critically, rather than just grinding your gears down to nothing.
Okay, I can see how taking a 10-minute active break sustains you during the workday. But what about the end of the day?
What do you mean?
Let's say it's 10 p.m., you've survived the meetings, the studying, the commute, and your brain is just totally fried.
Right, running on fumes.
Exactly. You just want to collapse on the couch and numb out. How do we apply this at the very end of the day when we have no energy left?
This is where the sources provide the final puzzle piece for managing screen time effectively and ensuring true systemic recovery. It's called the no-input strategy,
Okay.
and it dictates the final 30 minutes of your day.
Let me guess. 0 screens right before bed.
0 digital input of any kind for 30 solid minutes before you attempt to sleep. No phone, no television, no scrolling, no audiobooks.
For someone used to falling asleep while like a YouTube video plays on their nightstand, that sounds genuinely terrifying.
It can cause acute anxiety the first few times you try it, honestly. We often use constant digital noise as an anesthetic.
Oh, to distract us from the unresolved stress of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you suddenly remove that noise, your mind might initially race. The thoughts you've been suppressing all day will bubble up to the surface.
So why on earth would we want to induce that anxiety right before trying to sleep?
Because if you don't process that backlog while you are awake, you're carrying that unresolved cognitive load straight into your sleep cycle.
And then your brain tries to process it while you sleep.
Yes, which destroys your sleep architecture. The 30 minutes of no input is a decompression chamber. It is the ultimate active recovery method to let your mind finally slow down, file away the day's events, and reset for the next day.
And without it, you wake up the next morning feeling like you never really went to sleep at all.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, when you lay out the mechanics of it like that, the entire picture shifts. We started this deep dive by asking why all these modern conveniences leave us so exhausted.
Right.
And the realization is that we aren't suffering from a lack of time. We are suffering from a catastrophic mismanagement of our cognitive energy.
We're bleeding power through mental crowding,
Hmm?
social jet lag, and the biological deception of passive scrolling.
Yeah, the transition from managing the minutes on a clock to managing the energy in your brain, it just changes entirely how you approach your life.
It really does.
So, to synthesize the productivity plan we've built for you today, first, batch checking distractions. Check those notifications on your terms in dedicated blocks, not theirs, to stop the fragmentation.
Right.
Second, relentlessly close your small mental loops. If an unread email takes 2 minutes to answer, do it immediately to clear your mental RAM.
Absolutely.
Third, observe your natural chronotype and fiercely protect 1 to 2 golden hours for your most vital, high-pressure, deep work.
Yep, protect that time.
Fourth, respect your biological limits by working in 60 to 90-minute blocks, followed by true active recovery breaks. And finally, decompress your mind with 30 minutes of complete no-input silence right before bed.
It requires discipline, but it is the only way to genuinely take back control of your cognitive space.
Yeah.
This raises an important question, though. Right now, we measure our days by how much we got through. The endless errands, the inbox zero, the obligations survived. But is that actually living?
Which brings us to a final thought I want you to mull over as you go about the rest of your day. Think about your day so far.
Really think about it.
If you stripped away every single digital notification tomorrow, if all the pings, buzzes, and dopamine hits just vanished, would you actually remember what you experienced today? Or are you just watching your own life from a distance, too drained to actually participate in it?
That's a heavy question.
Take back your time, but more importantly, take back your energy. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.